We're not going to deny the fact that the autonomy of a black woman has been policed for a long time, every part of her being, including the hair. There are people who are not hired because of their natural hair. There's nothing wrong in wanting a 30-inch bust down, but when it becomes a necessity where without it you're not even sure what you look like, you're not even sure who you are, then it's a problem. Black women who wear wigs hate their natural hair. How ironic. I come here with a wig to talk about this. Yes, we're going to be talking about this while I have this Letitia wig on. Hi Lilies, welcome back to A Little Life with Paige, and if this is your first time here, I am Paige and welcome. So recently there has been this discourse online. It's not a recent thing, to be honest, like it recycles every few months, where some people are for or against this particular topic of black women hating their natural hair. This topic comes in different variants on the internet. There is the braids are not birthday hair. There is I cannot use my natural hair for a wedding. There is I cannot leave my house without a wig. The same thing, but in different variants. And I want to talk about this. So essentially, the one that caught my eye of recent is someone who came online to say black women who wear wigs hate their natural hair. How ironic. And I come here with a wig to talk about this. Yes, we're going to be talking about this while I have this Letitia wig on. Thank you. So just before I completed my setup to film this video, my father called me to wish me a happy International Women's Day, and first thing he said was, wow, you're with a wig. He commended the wig and he was rightfully shocked because I'm not a wig person. Honestly, not a wig person. There is proof in the pudding. More of a braids girly. I love my braids. In terms of this natural hair discourse, I try my best not to invest myself in most of the online discourse, but we need to talk about this. I just wanted something different, so that's why we have the wig on for now. Do I hate myself? No. Do I hate my natural hair? No. I'm a writer and I've written multiple pieces on black women's hair, especially 4C hair. Those that have been published, those that haven't been published. One of my most popular write-up on hair that I did write for my university's magazine. So I feel like I do have quite a handful of experience and knowledge to talk about this topic. So first, we're going to be discussing protective styles. So essentially, protective styles are hairstyles that people do to maintain the integrity of their hair. And when I say integrity, this essentially means the chemical bonds of your hair, the texture of your hair, anything that you would do to prevent damage of hair. That's what a protective style is. And see, hair is very delicate. Aside from protective styles, there's still other things we have to do on top of that to protect the integrity of our hair. Eating right is one of them. Using silk or satin pillowcases, bonnets, you know, the LCO method or LOC method, leave-in conditioners, oil, water. With hair, there's extra steps to that. You have to consider the porosity of your hair. Is it high? Is it low? Is it medium? So all of that falls under the umbrella of having a protective style. But essentially, overextending or overdoing a particular protective style could be equally as damaging. So for example, if you're someone who loves braids like me and you just continue doing braids back to back, that can make your hair strands weak. That can cause traction alopecia as well. That's the topic of protective styling. And at the end of the day, the overall essence of protective styling is to have healthy hair, keep healthy hair, maintain healthy hair. Like I said, when you extensively do a particular protective style, then it's both damaging. On an emotional and cultural level, we have to look at why that is. We're not going to deny the fact that the autonomy of a black woman has been policed for a long time, every part of her being, including the hair. Like, there are repercussions for going out with your natural hair, going to work with your natural hair, going to school with your natural hair. There are people who are not hired because of their natural hair. There's a lot of anxiety. You see a lot of newscasters even having like to pep talk themselves, or even people saying things like, this is my first time appearing on live TV with braids, this is my first time appearing on live TV with my natural coils. Like, there is a lot. Black women have suffered just for naturally existing. We're always boxed up to be tamed, and that introduced the creamy crack, what we call relaxers, you know. And this was the straighten. There's always a need to straighten, like we're some sort of crooked mopeds that needs saving. This straightening can be linked towards whiteness. You know, there's the angry black woman notion. There's the, you can't be too much, you can't laugh too loud, you can't show anger, you can't do anything, you have to be dainty. This sort of blackness equals masculinity. So why should your hair be wild and free? Should your hair be defying gravity when it could be straight? Confirm. I'm not going to deny the fact that there's a lot of trauma that came with this, and this has been passed from generations to generations. Because even on the internet, when you hear some people talking about how like they just have their hair in the natural state, or maybe in a high bun or something like that, their parents, their own mothers, their own family members will even be like, oh, you need to get your hair done. Our hair, the type of hair that when it exists in its natural state, we have to get it done. Tell me why. Extensivity of anything is not good. Too much of everything is not good, including water. It could be detrimental for your health and also for your hair. I feel like this thought process has been out, but in a couple of years it's been louder than ever. Last year there was this whole podcast thing where this media personality, Nigerian media personality, came out to talk about how
your natural hair is good for church programs. Your natural hair is good for when you want to pick your kids at school. Oh, wow. Don't bring your natural hair to my event. I have natural hair, but I'm wearing a wig. But I don't have to. I can wear my natural hair if I want to go out. If I'm going to the beach, I can wear my natural hair. It's good for the beach. If I'm going to church, it's okay. Do you get what I'm saying? If I'm going to pick my, maybe going to play with my niece, it's cool. If I'm in my house, it's okay. But why would I want to wear a nice ass dress, expensive dress, expensive heels? At least I'll do ponytail. At least. Like, but when you do natural hair, you're wearing a nice dress. I'm looking at the dress up. I just look at the face.
There's a lot of bandwagon on that case, but she's not different from most people who tweet about it or make TikTok videos about it. A lot of people who say things like braids cannot be my birthday hair, you know. It's crazy. Protective styles could come in different forms. It could be braids with or without extensions. It could be bantu knots. That's my absolute favorite. It could be wigs. No matter what it is, with wigs, wearing wigs so much that you do have like a permanent wig band on your head, or there's obvious demarcation in complexion with where your forehead and where your wig stays. Like, wearing wig up to that extent frequently, it's not the best, honestly. It hinders the main reason of protective styling. Don't get me wrong, I am wearing a wig right now. I see it a lot. Like, people come out to say things like, I don't feel pretty without my wig. That's where the problem is. I can't leave the house without my wig. That's where the problem is. I have to actively break that. For me, a protective style should be on average, depending on what it is, but 2 to 6 weeks. 2 to 6 weeks. People get braids, wigs, whatever. Like 2 to 6 weeks, it's a good time on average. I'm not saying it cannot be lesser than that or more than that, but there should be breaks in between. If wigs is your go-to, then your breaks can be bantu knots, your breaks can be braids. If braids is your go-to, your breaks can be wigs. Like, please have fun. I love fun. I'm a hair person. Like, flaws, oh god, I'm going to put multiple pictures of me here. Like, I love braids. I love trying different colors of braids. I love bantu knots. For me, it's not just one size fits all. I'm not going to deny the fact that some people use protective styling, especially wigs, as an armor for their insecurities, and it is very sad. This is very sad, and it's entirely not their fault. It's a societal problem that has translated into this, and I feel right now it is our duty to ask why that is. It's also our duty to reverse that, where you can't feel like yourself if you don't have a wig on, or you can't leave your house without your wig. That's a problem. People like that should be given grace, because it's deeper than surface level. Obviously, they should be given grace. this whole discourse of natural hair and the level of attention it got, I honestly did not witness this for majority of my life. So I moved to North America for school. Not a main discourse. Like, my mother had this really big afro and I loved it on her. I grew up to be someone who would carry afros to class. I remember, oh Jesus, I'll not forget. I remember my first year of uni, the first time I carried my afro to class. I had this, not friends, but we were classmates, and she was also Nigerian, and we were having lunch together. When we had a few classes together, so we happened to be like around each other. Again, that day, we just had chemistry class together, and then we were having lunch, and then she was like, wow, you know, I can never carry my natural hair like you outside. And then I remember just feeling like, that's an odd thing to say. But then I was like, like, okay, how is that information helping me? But you know, and after that, I now did do Bantu knots, and that was a whole different story. And that was the first time I experienced like microaggression because of my hair, and this was my professor. Like, I have a whole write-up on it, like it's documented, so I would put it in the link in the description if you want to go and check it out. But it was something else. But essentially, back to it, I just feel like a lot of people should be given grace. First, maybe you grew up in a household where maybe natural hair was as normal as breathing, and how to take care of it was as normal as breathing. So as an adult, you don't have difficulties in ensuring your hair is healthy and the steps to take to achieve that. Not everybody grew up with that kind of example. And even for those who didn't grow up with that kind of example, some people at some point, like me, I went to a boarding school for 6 years. So even in my formative years, I was not even at home to like be looking at what is supposed to be done and what is supposed to be done. And apart from that, it was a Catholic boarding school in Nigeria. And they made us scrape our hair. Like, we had low cuts for 6 years. So, you know, so there was not even like, this is actually what to do. Like, during the experimental phase, I would say when people experiment and try things, I didn't even get that. But at home though, I didn't have, like, my mother was someone who always had her hair out. So for me, that was my normal. And I could not wait to finish boarding school to grow out my hair and have a beautiful afro like her. So that was it, honestly. But not everybody has that experience. Not everybody later decided that, oh, although I didn't have this experience, I don't want people who come from me to hate their natural hair. Or I'm tired of being on this phase where I don't know what to do with my hair. Like, I want to learn. Not everybody is that proactive per se. So I feel like we should give them more grace in 2025. And in terms of how to take care of your hair, at some point, especially with people who have access to internet and access to YouTube, choosing not to educate yourself is pure ignorance, because now information is everywhere, on TikTok, on YouTube, on Instagram. You know, it's not like back then where it was a big thing. Like, most OG influencers even started off as natural hair like influencers because there was nobody talking about it. But now there are 1,001 beautiful women coming out to tell you how to grow your hair, how to maintain your hair, how to get this protective style installed, and how to get it removed. Wearing a wig does not translate to automatically hate for yourself or hate for natural hair. And I essentially really love this Letitia hair because it mimics a blowout. There's nothing wrong in wanting a 30-inch bust down. There's nothing absolutely wrong in that. But when it becomes a necessity, where without it you're not even sure what you look like, you're not even sure who you are, then it's a problem. And I can see why people who say those kind of people hate themselves or hate their natural hair. I see it, but everybody should be given grace. I want to know your favorite protective style. My favorite protective style is Bantu knots. I love Bantu knots and braids. So that's the end of my TED talk today. Please don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe. Love you. Bye.